Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Ms. Musarat Diawani. I am a teacher in Institute at Rehan School. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Ms. Musarat Diawani. I am a teacher in Institute at Rehan School Lower Campus. Today we will discuss how to practice self-compassion and forgive ourselves. We all make mistakes and face challenges, but learning to treat ourselves with kindness and essential for personal growth and happiness. Self compassion helps us heal, build confidence, and move forward with hope. Let us explore how accepting our imperfection can lead to a healthier and more fulfilling life. So, without wasting time, we connect to ChatGPT. Hi, ChatGPT.
हाँ, बिल्कुल, मैं यहीं हूँ। आपको किस तरह की मदद चाहिए या आपको क्या चर्चा करनी है? मैं सुन रही हूँ और पूरी कोशिश कर
Today, we discuss how to practice self compassion and forgive yourself.
That sounds really meaningful. I think a lot of us struggle with self-forgiveness, so I'm curious, what kind of aspects or practices are you thinking about? Are you looking for some specific techniques or just a broad discussion?
My question is, what is self compassion?
Great starting point. So, self compassion is basically treating yourself with the same kindness, care, and understanding that you'd offer a good friend. It has three main parts: self kindness, recognizing common humanity, so knowing you're not alone in the struggles you have, and mindfulness, basically staying present with your emotions without over identifying with them.
Why is self compassion important in daily life?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, in daily life, we're often our own harshest critics, and that can lead to stress, burnout, or even just keeping us stuck in guilt. But self compassion gives us a space to be human, to fail, and then still encourage ourselves to keep going. So it's a huge foundation for resilience and overall well being.
How is self compassion different from self pity?
That's a great question. So, self compassion is actually quite different. Self pity tends to keep us stuck in that why me mindset where we feel isolated and powerless. Self compassion, on the other hand, acknowledges the pain but also treats it with care and a sense of perspective so we can move forward constructively.
Why do people often struggle to forgive themselves?
Yeah, that's really common. A lot of times we hold on to guilt or regret because we feel like we don't deserve forgiveness, or we fear that if we let go, we'll make the same mistakes again. But actually, forgiving yourself is a way of freeing yourself to grow and learn rather than staying stuck in that loop of self criticism.
How can mistakes help us grow as individuals?
That's a really powerful point. So, when we forgive ourselves, we stop carrying this heavy burden and we make space for learning. We can reflect on what happened, take responsibility without shame, and then channel that self compassion into positive change. So, it's like a bridge to a wiser, more resilient version of ourselves.
What are the benefits of practicing self forgiveness?
Oh, there are so many. For one, it reduces anxiety and stress because you're not constantly fighting yourself. It also boosts self esteem since you build a more supportive inner voice. And over time, it helps you be more resilient, more open to challenges, and more able to connect with others authentically.
How does negative self talk affect mental health?
Yeah, it can be really damaging. Negative self talk keeps us in a cycle of doubt and shame, which can lead to anxiety, depression, even burnout. It kind of narrows our perspective so we can't see possibilities, and it keeps us feeling stuck. So, shifting that inner dialogue is really key for mental well being.
What are some ways to replace self criticism with kindness?
Yeah, so one great way is to start by being mindful of those negative thoughts, just noticing them without judging yourself. Then you can ask, what would I say to a friend in this situation? And start offering yourself that same kindness. You can also practice affirmations, gratitude, or even just grounding exercises to stay present and connected.
How can mindfulness support self compassion?
Oh, absolutely. Mindfulness is like a foundation for self compassion. By staying present, we notice when we're being hard on ourselves. And instead of getting swept up in that judgment, we can pause, acknowledge our feelings, and respond with kindness. So it keeps us grounded in the moment, which makes compassion feel more real and accessible.
Why is it important to accept our imperfections?
Yeah, that's so important. I mean, when we accept our imperfections, we actually give ourselves the freedom to grow. It allows us to be more authentic, to take risks, and to trust that we're enough as we are, even with all our flaws. So it really opens up a space for self acceptance and resilience.
How can journaling help us forgive ourselves?
Yeah, journaling can be really powerful for this. When you write out your thoughts and feelings, it gives you a safe space to explore them without judgment. You might notice patterns, understand why you're being hard on yourself, and then consciously forgive yourself. So it kind of externalizes that internal struggle, which makes it easier to process.
What role does graduate play in self compassion?
Yeah, that's a really interesting part. So, for a lot of people, spirituality offers this bigger sense of meaning and compassion, like we're part of something larger. That can soften self judgment and help us feel connected and worthy of forgiveness. So, it kind of anchors us in that universal love and acceptance.
How can we learn from our past without dwelling on it?
Yeah, that's such a delicate balance. One way is to acknowledge the past without letting it define you. So, you might reflect on it with curiosity, ask yourself what you've learned, and then focus on how you want to show up now. And remember, forgiveness is a process. It doesn't mean you erase what happened, but that you stop being chained to it.
Why is comparing ourselves to others harmful?
Yeah, it really is. When we compare ourselves to others, we often set ourselves up for feeling inadequate or like we don't measure up. It keeps us stuck in this cycle of self criticism and envy. But when we focus on our own journey and progress, we're able to appreciate our unique strengths and grow from a place of self acceptance.
How can setting realistic expectations improve self esteem?
Yeah, that's a game changer. When we set realistic expectations, we reduce that constant pressure to be perfect. It helps us stay focused on achievable goals, so we're kinder to ourselves if we stumble. And when we do succeed, it feels even more rewarding since it's actually within reach.
What are some healthy ways to cope with guilt?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a healthy way is to first acknowledge the guilt without judging yourself. Just notice it. Then ask yourself what you can learn from it, what it's trying to teach you. You can also talk to someone you trust, engage in self soothing practices like deep breathing, or remind yourself that making mistakes is part of being human.
How can friends and family encourage self forgiveness?
Yeah, they can be really powerful allies. When they show us empathy, remind us that we all make mistakes and that they still care about us, it softens that inner critic. They can also celebrate our progress, encourage us to be patient, and remind us that we're worthy of love, just as we are.
Why is patience important during the healing process?
Yeah, it's really crucial because it reminds us that we're not alone. When we feel isolated, it's easy to stay stuck in shame or guilt. But when we have someone there holding space for us, offering acceptance, it helps us feel seen and understood. And that connection really speeds up recovery.
How can meditation help us become more compassionate?
Yeah, meditation is really helpful for that. By regularly calming the mind and staying present, we build a habit of observing our thoughts with compassion rather than subjudging them. Over time, that gentle awareness extends to how we treat ourselves. So we become more forgiving, patient, and kind.
What does emotional resilience mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Emotional resilience is basically your capacity to bounce back from tough situations. So when things go wrong or you feel overwhelmed, it's your ability to adapt, stay grounded, and keep moving forward. And self compassion plays a huge role in that because when you're kind to yourself, you recover more quickly and you trust yourself to get through tough times.
How can we celebrate our progress instead of focusing on failure?
Yeah, that's a really good shift. So instead of seeing healing as a final destination, we recognize it as a process, something that unfolds gradually. We celebrate small steps, we notice progress, and we give ourselves credit for every effort. So it becomes more about the journey than a single perfect outcome.
Why is asking for help a sign of strength?
Yeah, that's a big misconception, right? Asking for help actually shows a lot of courage and self awareness. It means you know your limits and you're willing to reach out, which is actually a form of strength. And it helps us connect more deeply and grow, knowing that we don't have to carry everything alone.
How can forgiveness lead to inner peace?
Yeah, that's such a beautiful outcome. When we forgive ourselves or others, we let go of that burden of resentment and self criticism. And in that space, we find the sense of calm and balance because we're no longer fighting against ourselves. So forgiveness really is like a bridge to that inner peace we're all seeking.
What habits can we develop to practice self compassion every day?
Yeah, there are some simple habits you can build. For example, you can set a daily reminder to check in with yourself, ask how you're feeling, and offer yourself some kind words. You can also practice a short loving kindness meditation or write down affirmations about your worth. And gradually, these small practices become second nature.
What is one lesson you have learned about forgiving yourself?
I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that forgiveness isn't a one time event. It's more like a process. Some days it's really easy, and other days it feels harder. But every time I offer myself patience and kindness, I get a little freer. And I realize that healing is really about letting go step by step.
Thank you, ChatGPT, for this conversation, and thank you everyone for joining this discussion on how to practice self-compassion and forgive yourself. May we all learn to treat ourselves with kindness, embrace our imperfections, and grow stronger through life's challenges. Remember, forgiveness is not about forgetting our mistakes; it is about learning, healing, and moving forward with hope. May your journey be filled with peace, courage, and self love. Thank you and take care.
That was really beautiful.